Well, okay, am I live? I should be. Okay, I have to make sure now because apparently Windows 8.1 is acting up on me. Where's my remote? I'm gonna have to do something real quick and we'll get started.
Peace is not an easy word. Warriors speak of honor and glory, but you have little of them left.
Now, if you can tell, oh yeah, I didn't say good morning yet. Good morning, guys. This is Lewted with another dank stream, unfortunately. Now, I've been thinking about getting a mic.
We are a mighty people.
Like I'm using the inbuilt one, or built-in one. But I'm thinking about getting like an actual mic. Probably not worth it, since this laptop only has one jack. Now, if you can tell by the title, I'm a little bit bamboozled, if I can say that, by Colchis and Pergamon. I mean, it didn't bother me that much because I play as Colchis in multiplayer. However, like I didn't care that much about like their roster. For some reason now I lag more when I stream. Just give me a second. Like I'm lagging slightly more now because I'm at 9 or 7 frames per second when last time I was at 11 to 15. And when I'm not streaming, that is. Just bothers me a little bit because I don't like low quality streaming.
Ready for orders. At your command.
Anyway, like I was saying, Colchis and Pergamon's rosters, well, Pergamon does have 2 elite units. However, the Agema Spears are just an upgraded version of the Rio Spears. They're not that good in melee. And I think you have to turn off Fire at Will for them to brace. I mean, to activate Expert Charge Defense, but I'm not 100% sure. Because they're a Ethereal Spear unit that has Expert Charge Defense, basically. And slightly better melee attack and defense. I don't have access to them in this province, so I couldn't check.
Ready for orders.
I do have access to Ethereal Spears in this province, but not...
We hunger for battle.
No, Agema Spears. But
How can I be of assistance?
it's not that bad. The difference between them
My skills
isn't
are
that big, unless you're looking at the melee attack, and then it's pretty big.
How may I serve you?
I was going to stream. 1 second. I was going to stream some Shogun 2 today, but I'm very skeptical because the only campaign that I'm actually firing uses 4 mods, and that's just so I can get new units, because Shogun 2, obviously, all factions have the same units except the Ikowiki. It's just that some units have different buffs and then stuff like that. Now, where am I attacking next? Because I don't think I'm gonna go for this victory. Like 120 units. There. I can get 180 units total. That would be 120 land units and then 60 naval units.
At your service.
You'll rarely see me do a naval battle in Rome 2 when I'm streaming. In Shogun 2 you might see me do a few, especially in a Rise of the Samurai campaign. Because I do naval battles, mind you, but I don't do them often. I do land battles more. And that's true for a lot of people that are good at a Total War game. What was I supposed to do here? Really? I have a lot of slaves. Must have not been paying attention on how much slaves I have, so now it's becoming a problem. I'll leave that there. Because in this campaign I'm having a problem with expanding. On one side I could declare war on Athens, but that could also drag me into a war with the RDA. Then there's Epirus, which right now I think is a client state of Sparta.
Enter, friend, and
They are at war with Syracuse, Rome, right now. But somehow they have a defensive alliance with Massalia. Whatever. Athens has a defensive alliance with Egypt, which means I can't declare war on them, because Egypt is helping me right here. They were helping me with the Seleucids, and so was Bactria, but I got tired of Bactria just taking all this territory. What else? Knossos has a military alliance with us, which makes sense. Cyrenaica, however, is the only area where I can expand and not feel bad about it. Unless, of course, Athens does declare war on me, which I don't think they will for a while. Like, we don't really have a problem with them, except because we have treaties with Egypt. So you never know, we might actually fight them. I think Cyrenaica has the same roster as Egypt. Egypt's funny because they don't have hoplites, but they have thorax swordsmen. And they also have
Hunger for battle.
royal thorax. No, the Seleucids have silver shield swordsmen, and Egypt has royal royal thorax swordsmen. The royal thorax swordsmen have better swords, have better melee attack and melee defense as well. I think thorax swordsmen overall are supposed to be a sword unit, a sword version of a hoplite, whereas the thorax hoplites are supposed to be a stronger version of hoplites, and the hoplite equivalent of their sword brothers. Well, who knows?
At your command.
These Thracian warriors have been very useful to me, and that's why I've kept them in my army. And I mean, that's how mercenaries are supposed to work. If they're useful in your army, you might as well keep them. These guys are very useful because I have hoplites and 2 Galatian swords, and that's it. You know what? I should probably continue my Colchis campaign because this campaign's going nowhere right now. I'm just going to be ending turns over and over until a Bactrian army tries to invade me again.
There is much to be said for generosity between friends. It profits both parties. Don't you agree?
Now, Arachosia, or Arachosia, however you want to pronounce it, hasn't been really attacking me. They're down here, whereas I'm up here in Armenia. I have a lot of money and I could just give it away and make it back in 2 turns. However, I've been thinking to myself that if I can pacify Bactria and these guys, and if I wanted to fight the Parthians, I could do that. I mean, why not? In other news, I wanted to start a new Massacre campaign. However, I've been
We are
very skeptical about doing it because my very hard one was a disaster. And because of Massacre's starting position, they're probably going to be fighting a lot of horse archers again. I mean, horse archers are a pain in the butt, especially the woman, either the Amazonian riders or the Scythian noblewoman. And those are like really annoying. Like they have 150 range, and if you micro them well, they'll be like some of the most effective horse archers you'll have. And I'm talking about the campaign, not playing as Royal Scythia. Because the Cimmerians don't have access to noblewomen. And in multiplayer they don't have access to Amazonian riders either. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this campaign because it's not going anywhere. The Colchis campaign I don't think is going anywhere either. Then I still have to take care of my Lusitania campaign, which I probably should complete today. Because I'm making my way to Italy right now. And then I have to also... Oh, Jesus, what happened to my tongue? I have to also take Carthage and pretty much all of Africa. Which isn't easy, mind you. So I have my Royal Scythian campaign, which is going well. My boy Tylus campaign. Both are hard. Royal Scythia is normal. But I will try to start a new Mazagate campaign. Whoops. Where am I? Here we are. I could use a mod that allows me to play as all factions in Emperor Edition and Imperator Augustus. But I'm not going to do that on stream. I'll do it off stream on my own time. I like the nomadic tribes. They're the most micro-intensive factions in the game, as I've said before. But they're also really hard. If you master these guys, and you're like very quick with them, like you're always moving with all of your cav, they're like super good. Like these guys get plus 15 morale. These guys get plus 20 melee attack and foreign territory. And Roxolani is really good with their melee cav. Their Summation Riders. Actually, I should just go over their roster really quick. Because I did a stream. I did a stream like about a month ago with all the factions and what I thought about them. But I know that people haven't seen it. Like most people haven't seen it. Because I didn't make it into a highlight. And I'll just make a stream one day again and then just make it a highlight of all the factions. But just break it down for each DLC. Mazakate relies on shock cav. They have no melee cav. Roxolani relies on their melee cav even though they have good shock cav. Because both of these units have Draco. Whereas Mazagate's Saka Noble Armored Lancers have Draco, but their Cataphracts don't. They have Trample, which makes sense. These guys are very heavy. These guys are super heavy. These guys are better for charging infantry. These guys are better for charging Cav and then using Draco to make sure they win engagements as early as possible. The Cataphract Horse Archers, which is a unique unit for the Nomads. You'd expect a faction like Royal Scythia to have it, because they rely on Missile Cav. However, there's a reason why these guys have it and not the Roxolani. I mean, Royal Scythia. And it's because they prefer armored Cav over the other factions. I mean, I think all of them have Noble Lancers. Yeah, all nomadic factions have Noble Lancers. Steppe Noble Lancers, mind you. Now, unlike Total War Attila, nomadic Cav don't move faster than Eastern Cav or any other Cav. Light nomadic Cav will move as fast as Eastern light Cav, as well as Greek or barbaric. It doesn't really matter. In the campaign, you can change the values though of the speed. Highest is 20%, which is nice. It used to be 15%, mind you. Anyway, Mazakate relies on heavier Cav. Again, these guys have more hit points than these guys, but the Noble Armored Lancers have the same armor but better melee attack and are better for staying in combat. Saka Cataphracts have good melee attack. And these guys are your tanks. They're usually the units you want to have absorb most of the fire. They have the same shots per minute as Noble Horse Archers, but they have better melee attack. Amazonian Riders. Roxolani, Draco. Although these guys do not have 10 bonus versus large, they're still useful. Like, you'll probably not want to charge in first with these guys. These guys are better for probably attacking spear units, isolated spear units, as I don't know if they cut their bonus versus large of spear units in half, or if it's 2/3, because it differs. It depends on what unit you use it on. Royal Scythia, only their royal horse has Draco, but these guys are expensive to bring into combat. Like, you probably only want to bring 2 or 3. You'll never really need to bring royal skirmishers into combat. I mean, these guys are a lot better against infantry than these guys. These guys are more of your anti-cav units. And then you have your missiles. I mean, royal horse archers do have better melee attack than skirmishers, but skirmishers are better for baiting out the heavier armored units. And I don't know if people have noticed this, but archers are more accurate than javelin men. I've noticed this for like a long time. And then I think slingers are pretty accurate as well. Slingers are like a horse archer's worst enemy. They're also like pretty much missile cav in general. But as you might know, archers don't block any incoming missiles. They don't, which is why slingers have a field day on them, no matter how many armor they have. It's the same thing that goes for cataphract horse archers. Even though these guys can take a lot more punishment and are probably going to last a lot longer, they'll eventually die from slingers. If you can get these guys to be focused on and then micro these guys, then you should be fine. I mean, these guys are fast enough to avoid about medium cav. Actually, no, they're not. They're fast enough for heavy cav, but I don't think they'll avoid medium cav, like citizen cav. And you should be careful, like when you're dealing with light horse. Anyway, Royal Scythia, as I said, superior missiles. They have noblewomen and Scythian Amazonian riders, which both have 150 range. And I was watching a video on how you can use them to bait, and I mean, I already knew this, but because they have 150 range, you can avoid archers that have 150 range. However, unfortunately, the same can't be said about slingers, because sometimes their rocks go out of their max range, and if you bait them too late, you'll probably take a lot of casualties. Like I said though, I'm going to be doing a Massacre campaign on hard. Whoops. Because I tried very hard and that didn't end well. Now, like, I'm going to say this only once, but the objectives, like military, cultural, and economic stuff, are like really bad. Like, it's horrendous. Their objectives are. For a military victory, you have to take Macedonia, which is so far away, Magna Graecia, which is even farther, Italia, which are connected, Hellas, which is Greece, Africa, which is not even close, and Carthagenesis, which is across the map. See, Scythia is here, Massacre starts right here, and Carthagenesis is right here, where Hispania is. Let me just change the map real quick to original. You start right here. The Roxolani start about right here in Scythia. Then the Royal Scythians start in Ponto Caspia. Carthagenesis is right here, and you're supposed to go all the way from Massagetae to here. Like, I think that's pretty ridiculous. But it's historically accurate in a sense because that's what the nomads did. Unlike Rome 2, Attila actually captures that. The Huns right now are the only nomadic tribe, and they never had a home. They were always moving. And I think that's important. Now, in Rome 2, you can capture settlements with nomads. However, I don't think a lot of people know that in sieges you can use cav to decap points quickly. I'm thinking about starting a Roxolani campaign sometime today. I mean, not sometime today, but in the near future. I'll be right back. I was supposed to have my webcam on today, but I just decided not to put it on.
A test of strength and power awaits. Your people are great warriors, as your northern neighbors will quickly realize when you raid their lands and claim their horses. The kingdom of the Chorasmii lies to the east. Their riches are yours for the taking. Move southwards, and you can wage glorious war against the successors to the mighty Persian Empire, the sons of your old enemy Cyrus. This will not be easy, but the rewards will be great. All will tremble before the Massagetae.
Oh, that was a nice intro. I've been trying to find Reader's Digest Canada for this month because somebody I know is in it, but to be honest, it never is.
Thirsty for battle! Thirsty for battle!
One thing I hate about the Nomads, however, is their use of horse archers. The AI tends to do a really good job with it, unless they're fighting like foot archers or foot slingers. Actually, I have to check something. Just give me a second. If you hear some noise, it's just me doing something. But I had to check something before I continue. And I'm not sure if... Like, I don't think I'll get in trouble if I don't, but... Actually... Then again, I think it's down today, so I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I was right. Because today's the 6th. And... Okay, so I didn't miss anything. Alright.
Ready for orders!
Again, like I was saying, I don't like the way horse archers work when you're playing as the nomads. against other nomadic factions. Like if I was playing as Cimmeria, then I can handle them because I use slingers and my own step archers. But when you're playing as a nomadic faction and you have to fight like hordes of horse archers, that's when the AI like excels because they just use numbers.
Ready for orders.
Like I've tried Cantabrian Circle and it hasn't worked because what happens is if they try to charge you, you move out of the circle a little bit and then you move away, but melee cav can get you really easily. So what I try to do is I try to spread out my horse archers and then put Cantabrian Circle on. Cantabrian Circle doesn't work if you're going up against I think it's javelin men and slingers. Slingers, because their rocks tend to fly all over the place sometimes, and then javelin men because they have to be up close.
Fight with us. It's a good life. Ready for orders. Getting on our way. Gathering supplies. Ready for
To be honest, right now I don't have to build an army, so I'll just not do that. And with almost, I think you should do this for every nomadic faction, to be honest. Start with enclosed land. The reason being, you'll get most of your cav from agricultural buildings, and that's true for barbaric factions. It's no less true with nomadic factions. Most of your cav should be coming from the agricultural buildings. I mean, with the Roxolani, I can see Roxolani and the Mazagate, I can see you using melee cav and shock cav against maybe the Romans or other Hellenic factions. But it's not really necessary against Parthia because in most campaigns they'll just spam Eastern spearmen and then use some cataphracts maybe and their own horse archers, which are garbage, against
warriors.
superior archers.
Ready for orders.
This is a great day.
See, now I used to use step horse skirmishers, like I'd bring 3 or 4 of them because I thought since they have better shots per minute than archers, they'd be more useful. However, javelin men overall have, most javelin men, I should say, have less missile damage than
Thirsty for battle.
archers. Peltasts, for example, have 32, whereas archers, like the Greek archers, have 35. Now, it's kind of funny when it gets to elite units. Picked Peltasts have 41, but Cretan archers have... No, not Cretan archers. Or is it Cretan archers? Basically, some archers have 40. Cretan archers should have 40. Because I know Gallic hunters don't have 40, have 35, but they have the snipe ability.
Ready for battle. For the tribe.
One thing that always deters me from playing a nomadic campaign is your starting position. Like, apart from you have to fight nomadic factions first with all three of
Ready
them,
for
because
orders.
Mazakate starts here, the Roxolani start here, and then where is this? The Royal Scythians start here. See, the Roxolani get leather, whereas you get nothing when you start, which means that these guys get more money when they're trading. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that we establish ourselves somewhere. Now I have an option here. I can either go south and deal with these two nomadic factions here, which I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do on hard, but then I'd have to face the Parthians eventually, and also Bactria, which is over here. Or I can go north and deal with the Syrai, even though I think I have a trade agreement. Yeah, I have a trade agreement with them. Now the Parthians hate us for various reasons. But anyway, I could go north and then go west, but end up dealing with probably the Ardennes. I think that's how you pronounce it. The Ardennes, which Ardhan, right here, and then Armenia, which is right here, and then Cimmeria, which controls Bosphorus, which is somewhere over here. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can tell by the title, but if you weren't here earlier, I was saying that Pergamon basically has 2 elite units, whereas Colchis has 1 unique unit. Notice how I said that Pergamon has 2 elite units and Colchis has 1 unique unit. Colchis's roster is basically the same as any Greek/Eastern hybrid faction. The Seleucids have their roster, but they don't have Colchian nobles. I think Pontus also has their roster.
Ready for orders.
The only thing that's good about Colchis is their starting position. That's it. Now, for
I told you I'd be a great man.
for the first few turns, I'm going to be, or like the early stages of the campaign, I'm going to be relying solely on horse archers, which pretty much all nomadic factions should. Which means that Royal Scythia does have an advantage in that, as they have more options. And if you can tell, and I think this goes without saying that, horse archers are a lot stronger than horse skirmishers in that sense. Hi, Dimas. Oh, nothing much. I had to go back from Windows 10 to 8.1, which is why I wasn't streaming for a few days. Windows 10 wouldn't let me play Rome 2, Shogun 2, or Company of Heroes 2 because I don't think DirectX 12 is backward compatible. Like, it can't run DirectX 11 games like Rome 2. So I wasn't able to stream for, again, a few days.
For the tribe.
But here I am, and I'm really happy to be streaming and doing stuff.
Ready for battle.
To be honest, I don't know when a good time is to bring in Shock Cav. Maybe when I'm going up against the Parthians, because I do need to have units that close into melee, besides the Cataphract Archers. I think Cataphract Archers are like the last unit you want to have in melee against good, solid Spear Infantry, or even Sword Infantry sometimes. The leader of a vanquished tribe has arrived in your lands, seeking protection from his enemies. If you protect him, you get a new general, but you lose support. If you send him back to his enemies, you get support. And then he makes a remark that he'll one day come back to haunt you or something like that. Now, I don't need a new general, so obviously I'm going to send it back. Now I have to wait until I can get Noble Horse Archers. Now you'll always want to replace Armored Horse Archers with Noble Horse Archers.
Ready for orders.
Like always. Even though they're more expensive, they're more cost effective than Armored Horse Archers. Well, in my experience, that is. Sorry guys, my tongue is so dry. Just give me a minute. Gotta get something to drink.
This is a great day.
We are a mighty people, well versed in the uses of wealth.
The spirits have noticed that our treasure stores are wanted.
shadows are friends.
Blood and glory. I am the destroyer of men. What? Thirsty for battle. I am the destroyer of men.
How can I help?
The spirits have noticed that our treasure stores are wanting. Can you help with this?
Blood and glory. Or a sadness to your ancestors. Ready for orders.
Moving unseen. I am the knife in the dark. Seeing, but unseen.
All tremble before me. Ready for battle. We need good fighters. Ready for orders. For the tribe!
Between friends.
The spirits have noticed.
Thirsty for battle!
Alright. I'm back,
Thirsty for battle!
and I just decided to have a corps of armored horse archers because you never know. You never know when you need to have better missiles than your opponent. Now the AI, if I remember correctly, will not use the general until like half of the army's been destroyed or something. Or half of the army's been wasted. So I don't have to worry about countering this.
Ready for battle!
Mercenaries are lacking, but Amazonian riders are always a sound investment. Don't need them though. The reason why I haven't declared war on them yet is because I don't know what the Roxolani are doing up here. They could be trying to take the entire province, which means that they declare war on me. And if I'm fighting south, and they do, this army right here won't be able to do anything because I'll go into depth. And I won't have enough money to like make new buildings or anything. But I do need to expand.
Warriors all! Ready for order. Destination reached.
Alright.
For the tribe!
Now I already know what
On the move.
these guys are bringing. They're bringing better. They're bringing horse archers too, one Amazonian rider, and a step armored lancer.
I am the knife in the dark. Moving unseen.
I can recruit 4 more units, but I might go into debt if I get more armored horse archers, which is then when you bring regular horse archers. Because in reality, these guys have slightly better shots per minute. It's not a big difference, but these guys move faster, have less, and then have less armor, and are weaker in melee. And then I don't need horse skirmishers, really. Unless, of course, I want to fight off the young axes. but I don't need to.
Thirsty for battle. Yet in battle, there is no finer ending.
I remember the last time I had young axes as a core. That didn't work out well. I got massacred because they don't have pila or precursors.
What would you have of me? Do work, then. My work is done.
Jesus. One talent per turn is pretty bad. But I'll accept it. Bactria took over ammo. Didn't know that. I thought that these guys did. But it is what it is.
Thirsty for battle.
Yes.
I have to wait a turn. But I will have my army here just in case.
Starting out.
What would you have of
If
me?
the army here isn't as threatening as it looks, then
On the move.
I don't have a problem. Oh, this is a little bit weaker than the one I'm going to go up against. But it does have 19 men, 2 of which are mercenaries. 3 mercenaries, then young axes, and then the rest are horse archers. What's my standing with them? Minus 16, neutral.
Greetings! Speak plainly and without idle purpose, and all will be well.
Damn.
A sure thrust strikes home after
Darn,
all.
darn. I didn't know that they were defensive allies now. That means that I'll probably have to just continue. Oh, the Thaisagate came back. Can't trade with them though.
There's a good pork roasting for you, and better ale and mead set aside. But first, we talk.
I don't want to risk fighting the Kharazmai. I'd rather be fighting the Roxolani at this point.
Ready for orders. Move out.
So I'll declare war on them this turn, and then I'll see where that goes.
Greetings! Speak plainly and...
I have to do better with my horse archers though. I mean, that very hard campaign was very demanding. It demanded me to like out micro units that outnumbered me, and I couldn't do it. I was using noble horse archers and lost because I couldn't micro, since every time I tried to micro they just used skirmish mode to not only force my units back, like they had skirmish mode on, but then they'd force my units to like retreat, which would move them like away from the main army, and then they'd surround me and stuff.
Warriors all!
2 young axes isn't bad. I don't think that's bad. I mean, the last time I used the Masagate, I tried to use these guys as a core, and like I had like 5 of them, I guess. And that did not work out well at all. They got massacred by the archers.
Ancestors, hear me!
Now obviously I don't want to be fighting 2 armies at once, however in my current situation I probably have no choice. If I were raiding with the army I have here right now, then they'd come out and fight me. But it would allow me to get some units in my other army. Doesn't matter though.
Get moving!
Again, I don't need to get a bronze furnace right now. However, according to the Masagate's like traits, they benefit from livestock buildings. Now, this is livestock, and this is livestock, so I'll be getting this. This isn't livestock.
I am the knife in the dark.
Now, livestock obviously means like cattle or horses or sheep and stuff like that. But I think the nomads only have cattle and horses. Whoops.
Ready for battle!
Now, if I'm correct, the Roxolani should come out to fight me because I'm a lot weaker right now. Yep. This is going to be a bridge battle, which I might actually excel at because I have units that have more armor. However, to counter that, they have more. This seems like a winnable battle. Valiant defeat. If it's at least like 40%, then that means that I probably have a good chance of winning it. So I will fight it. Now I think in Rome 2 they nerfed river crossing battles a little, because in Empire Napoleon you'd have 2 choices and you'd like to go across. In Shogun 2, they ditched that and favored like one bridge on some maps, and sometimes it would be 2 crossings.
Young X's!
Now I have my cannon fodder here. I'm gonna put these guys into groups of 3.
Armored hostages! Our aim is true!
3, 6, 9, 12. Put these guys in a group of 5, and then
Heavy cavalry!
have my general here. My general will be very useful for defeating other young axes, whereas my armored horse archers are what is going to make me win, because they'll be fighting the step archers when they cross the bridge. Now they can cross the bridge, or they can cross this river crossing right here. Either way, when they come against me, they'll probably get decimated. Alright, group 1.
Missile riders!
With the nomads, you want to try to encircle your enemy, but in a case like this, I'd have to let them come across the bridge, and because they have more numbers, I don't think I could pull it off right now. However, during the heat of battle, I might be able to. Oh shoot, I forgot to turn off nightmare mode again. Ugh. That's why it's so foggy. I forgot to turn off nightmare mode again. I think I can do it outside of battle, but I can't do it in... Yeah, I can't do it right now.
Armored horse archers!
I'm pretty sure I can turn it off, because I hate it now. It was fun for like... It was fun for... What is it? My Colchis campaign. However, it's very detrimental in my Boy campaign, or Boye as they pronounce it.
We'll kill them all! Saka Lancers! Today I shall defend this ground. We shall not give them an inch. What say you, friends? Are you with
Enemy
me?
reinforcements approaching.
To stand up to this enemy? Come! To the
Excuse me.
fray! Yeah! Young X's!
Cannon fodder should stay here.
Ah! Riders! Ready! Battle ready! Armored hostages! Forward! We hunger for blood and battle! Move it!
Now they might try to just rush across this bridge only, and you can't destroy the bridge, unfortunately. So if they do, obviously I can just run my archers.
Ready! Armored hostages!
I don't think they will though. I think they'll try to go across both, and in which case
Advance at speed! Battle ready and eager!
now bear with me because I can't see a lot.
Armored hostages!
And I should probably spread out a little bit more.
Forward! Riders! Forward! Warriors! Ready! Ready!
Now I'm very skeptical about turning off skirmish mode because I might actually need it. Now I think they're just gonna wait until the young axes run up, and by the time they get to the bridge they'll be tired. They tend to micro units. The AI tends to micro units to cross both sides. And then I have these guys in the back because I don't know which side will be stronger. It's most likely going to be the river crossing, and here they come.
Horse archers!
They're crossing here first, so I'm gonna run up here. And I don't need to use heavy shot, which I don't think these guys even have. Now this is where I have to, this is where the micro counts. Because even though it's just one isolated unit, it can still cause problems. Oh, those are the Lancers.
Step archers! Missile riders! Step archers! The gods guide our shots!
Whoops.
The gods guide our shots! Step up! Ready! Quickly now! Forward!
And I have time, so I can bring these guys over as well. However, you can see that the AI tries to push back your units, and that's how they tend to win a lot of missile engagements.
Counter the missile warriors! Warriors, move out! Get running! Warriors, move out! Step up!
Again, it's really hard to micro these guys effectively.
Ready! Horse archers! Armored horse archers! Step archers! Forward!
Shoot, I wasn't paying attention to that unit. That unit cannot be in front or else they'll take more casualties.
We'll kill them all! Ready? The hunger for blood and battle!
See, I can barely see right now because also my glasses are a bit foggy.
Armored horse archers!
So you guys will have to bury me,
Warriors, ready!
as I could lose this.
We'll kill them all!
It's just that I doubt that I will.
Ready!
See, it's these two units that I'm afraid of,
Forward!
because they're not supposed to be in front. They're supposed to be behind the horse
Step
archers.
archers! Move it! Ready!
The men are wavering.
Speed!
It's this unit that's wavering,
Marcus Logo!
and they're gonna rout, unfortunately.
Go! Horse archers! Forward! Warriors eager for blood! Armored
Come on,
horse
guys, stay in the
archers!
fight.
Horse archers! Run, curse you!
I'm about to lose that unit completely.
Armored horse archers! Back!
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
However, I am winning.
Archers! Riders, advance! Armored horse Riders! Riders! Forward! Battle ready and eager! Armored horse archers! Battle ready and eager!
I think they lost over here completely, so I'm gonna pull over my troops, turn off skirmish mode for those guys, because they probably won't need it.
Armored horse archers! Our aim is true! Warriors, move out!
The horse archers will probably get in there,
Soccer Lancers!
so I won't charge into the back of my men. I could just charge into this unit.
Forward! Back here! Go! Warriors eager for blood! Armored horse archers! Battle ready and eager! Orders!
I need to turn off fire at will because those guys are stuck right now.
Warriors, move out! Ready! Warriors, move out!
My general could charge right into this.
Curse you!
I think I'll do that.
Crush them underfoot!
Alright, pull him out. My general did enough damage. I think that's good enough. Oh, I have 2 units over here. Armored horse archers. I'm gonna completely close them off now. I don't have to micro those guys for a while. Now they're just gonna get melted when they try to cross the bridge. Young Axis took quite a beating though.
The battle is turning in our favor.
Missile-armed riders! Battle ready and eager!
And now
Weapons ready!
this is just a hunt to chase down the remaining units.
Armored horse archers!
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Move it! Mounted missile warriors! Armored horse archers! Charge! Mounted missile warriors!
The enemy general is dead.
Good stuff. That was
The
something.
gods guide our shots! Riders!
The enemy general is dead.
Just continue a little bit.
Riders, forward! Warriors, ready! Armored horse archers!
Let these guys chase them down a little. This is why I love horse archers. More
One of our
accurate.
units has used all its ammunition.
And then these guys ran out of ammunition. That's pretty much the battle, to be honest.
Step archers! Forward! Missile-armed riders! Step archers!
Whoops. I lost 515. A unit actually got wiped. One of my armored horse archers. Killed a lot though. I got kind of clumsy with my step horse archers, but they did their damage. And did pretty good too. Armored horse archers did the most kills though. Actually, my Lancer got 1 more kill than this unit. But this unit got 163. Overall, my units did well, except my step horse archers, because I got kind of clumsy with them. But they were at the back too. I killed both generals, which is good. Pretty much reduced them to nothing. And so I'll release them.
Finding shelter.
I'll say that was a pretty effective battle. I mean, a pretty good battle. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to use my step horse archers to completely surround them and destroy both armies now. But I don't think it will matter.
Warriors all!
The Roxolani are pretty much done for. Now, I don't feel like fighting against the garrison army. And there's nothing really to fight. But 72%, I would probably lose Worst case scenario, I'll probably lose the step horse archers, which is fine. I lost this unit and this unit. Alright, I'll take that.
Is there nothing else? Move out! Ready for...
No, I'm not sacrificing.
For the tribe!
What would you have of me? I shall see them to
I'm just
their
interested if I can pull
ancestors.
this off.
The stool, nothing more.
Ready for orders!
Actually, I can change this now. I can make this Artisan's Lodge. Because eventually I'll need men that can charge in.
For the tribe!
Now this is effective, but so is this. I'll be using this. Light Cavalry Masters probably isn't worth it, because I probably won't be using light cavalry that often. I'll use this. And then charge bonus. Seems good. See, I don't get this trait often. Stranger to Fear, which is plus 5% experience gain for all units. It really adds up
Ready for
when you're in battle.
orders.
And when you have a warlord. Anyway, enough talking. Let's end turn. The word says yet to come though. I need to sign a non-aggression pact with the Krasmai right now. Or else I'll probably get invaded by them and Bactria. Lost my young axes. Fair enough. In scenarios like that, and one thing I've realized is what you can do with step lancers is, in a scenario like the battle I just fought, I could use the lancers to charge behind them because they all rush the bridge obviously. If I were attacking, then I couldn't do that unless I had artillery. But in that case, if I had lancers, I could have trapped them at the bridge and probably massacred almost the entire army, instead of having to like deal with an army over here and losing my young axes. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Either way, I still won. I have noble horse archers now, but I'm not going to upgrade all of these guys to noble horse archers. In fact, I might not even get rid of my step horse archers yet, because I do need their mobility.
can I help?
Thais is a friend. Don't have to worry about them. I do have to trade with them again though.
Greetings, friend. I've called for good ale to
They
ease.
don't want to trade. Alright. Whoops.
Enter, friend.
Greetings to you. I trust you come with honorable words.
Alright.
Much ale will be swilled.
The non-aggression pact should protect us for now against these guys. Can't say the same about Bactria, and these guys could break it off anytime they wanted. I mean, you did pay them.
Welcome. We will talk and then we...
Now I'm looking forward. I'm looking outside of Scythia, and I'm thinking about going west and invading places like Samandar. Now I think this is, where are we? Because this is Romania right here. Where are we present day? Greece is here, right? Then that means that Turkey's right here. Istanbul is right here. And then north of here, like these are the steppes of Russia then. Scythia is like on the, like South Russia. Sorry, I was just checking something. Because I was playing Napoleon and I was trying to look at the maps to see if they were the same.
Thirsty for battle.
Now, lancers are like the last thing you want to chase down horse archers with. However, these guys are good for charging in and out of infantry formations, except pikes, and good spearmen. I think I'm going to turn off skirmish mode for one battle when I'm using lancers, because as you saw, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but my men started to move back and then started to go into each other. Like it was 2 units into 1, and then that's how they take more casualties. Whereas the AI wasn't doing that much because I wasn't paying too much attention to every unit. You try to single out some units, and then when you go back to look at other units, they're bunched up, or they're at the corner of the map not doing anything. It's hard to micro like that.
Shadows are friends.
Sirenica, they have access. They have as well.
How can I help? Moving unseen.
Then Royal Scythia's there.
Yes. Shadows are friends.
This time I'm gonna wait a little instead of just barging into Samandar, because I could lose.
For the tribe!
And I'm always thinking about losing. What can I do to not lose? I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but in a hard,
Far and wide, know my name.
very hard or legendary campaign, you always have to look at the option of losing, because it does happen. In normal and easy battle or campaigns, it's less likely. You're less likely to lose because of how the AI works. They just tend to be very straightforward. If they have numbers, they'll pile onto you. And that's kind of when you have to be smart and try to fight that.
Ready for battle!
One more turn until I can get armored lancers. It's the noble lancers that I'm looking forward to because they have 76 charge and 40 armor, just like Persian lancers or Pergamon's lancers. However, Pergamon's have 45, I think. Good trade,
I
get to
look
trade.
forward to your wisdom, but I trust you will not object to a cup of wine first.
They are weak.
You speak from deep wisdom, although the offer is but shallow. I cannot agree.
Wonder if I can get it with
The
these
gods
guys.
will have me listen to you, but do not pass the day in words without merit.
No. Boy. $45 bonus to agriculture. I'm sorry guys if I'm like boring you with the stream. It's just that I try to, every stream I try to get a battle in there. At least one, and I try to stream for at least an hour because obviously I don't have a job and this is what I do for fun. Play games. I'm also looking for work, mind you. But obviously it's not easy. So I just do this to make myself happy and try to see if there's other people out there that want to join me on my quest to happiness, I guess, if that makes any sense. I mean, I'm not the best Total War player, but I have been playing Total War games for like 6 years, I think. Actually, it's this September it's going to be 6 years. 6 years since I had Napoleon. 5 years since I had Empire and Shogun 2. Wait, yeah. And then Rome 2 I pre-ordered. So it'll be my second year of Rome 2.
Ready for orders!
Because Fall of the Samurai came out a year after Shogun 2 and I have that. Now I have access to step armored lancers. These guys are like armored horse archers, except they have better health. That's what I like about the nomads. They sacrifice armor for speed. Oh, that's good. Good that I'm not boring you. I always like to make sure. I think the biggest reason people hate the nomadic tribes is because of the reason why nomadic tribes are hated on so much is because of the fact that they don't use infantry. I think that is like the biggest reason. Like Cimmeria, for example, doesn't have the same roster as Royal Scythia, but they have the Greeks. They have the Greek roster, which is hoplites, slingers, or some sort of missile infantry unit from the Greek roster, which is in their case is slingers and javelin men. But they also have access to armored horse archers, step archers, and noble horse archers, which makes them very unique. Yeah, I agree. Having a whole army of cav is really, it's kind of scary. It took me a while to get used to the nomads, because I'm still pretty bad with them. I mean, I have to use skirmish mode to make the AI micro them, the units while I'm not paying attention to them. I think a good person, like a person who's good with the nomads, doesn't have to use skirmish mode, but instead can micro each unit knowing where they are thanks to the minimap, whereas I can't. So I use skirmish mode. I mean, in the bridge battle over here, I didn't have to use skirmish mode because the units that I was going up against were inferior in melee overall. They did have step lancers, which I wasted. Besides that, I could have beaten them without using skirmish mode.
We need good fighters.
You know what? No. I'm gonna wait until I can get noble lancers, because I don't have any noble horse archers in my army, and that will fill the gap. However, cataphract horse archers should never be forgotten. Yeah, that's true. Up until Shogun 2, like Empire and Napoleon, it was what do you say? It was less than half of, for mounted infantry, it was half of an infantry unit, but for regular cav, it was like 45 on large and then 60 on ultra. Now, although there's 60 men in a cavalry unit versus 120 in an infantry unit, remember that cavalry overall have better health. Overall, the only units that have better health than horses are berserkers, and in some cases the Spartans. I think Royal Spartans have better health than some cav units. Berserkers have better health because they have 85, but they have 15 armor, 10 or 15 armor, none of which is body armor. And so when they get hit by missiles, they take full damage.
For the tribe!
I have to wait 2 turns to get noble lancers. Now the way I use nomads is a little bit different from the way I see people on YouTube. Now I think I was explaining it a little bit early on, but what I try to do is I try to surround the army that I'm facing. When you're facing another nomadic army, it's kind of hard because they're also mobile. And with the eastern factions, it's also hard because they have cataphracts and camels, and in some cases elephants. Time to continue.
I am the knife. I am done.
I've been playing Rome 2 for like a while, but the reason why I know so much about it isn't just because, you know, I'm like experienced at Rome 2. Like I'm not the best Rome 2 player there is. However, I'm very good at Napoleon, I will say that. And because of that, I was pretty good at Empire when I got it. I got Empire after Napoleon because I found out about Total War thanks to Empire coming out. However, Empire has a lot of glitches and I don't think people like it. Because you can spam Light Dragoons and win, and that's a no-no for me. I don't like spamming units. I don't like spamming more than probably 6. However, when it comes to nomads, if you were to use like 4 of these, 4 of these, and 4 of these, you probably lose against a lot of other factions. Because yeah, it's good to have mobility, but I'm not sacrificing that much by having armored horse archers, which are medium. If I had noble horse archers, that's something different because they're heavy. Unless I'm wrong, and these guys are medium too. I shouldn't be though. However, I like Rome 2 because the mechanics are different from Shogun 2. In Shogun 2, they introduced armor. However, in Rome 2, they introduced weapon damage. And in Attila, and the reason why I don't like Attila is for a few reasons. But anyway, in Attila, they went into depth with the stats. Like, they actually told you what each ability does now. However, oh shoot.
Blood and honor has bound us in friendship, but...
So we're probably going to have to fight the Krasmai now. So I'm going to move back to Act 2, whereas I'll move this army.
I don't care how tired you are. Do it, men!
Where was I? Yes, in Shogun 2 they brought armor. In Rome 2 they brought out weapon damage and missile damage. Even though in Shogun 2 you can see what values the matchlock and arrows did. And then in Attila, they focused on cavalry, which I didn't like. See, I think destroying cities is somewhat historically accurate for the Huns, because they're nomadic. I don't see the point of destroying it when you're playing as the barbarians, but who knows? There might be a point of it. Yeah, I don't like that either. But it is what it is. I mean, the only reason I don't like Total War Attila is because it focuses more on cavalry, whereas every game that I've played up until Attila focuses on having infantry corps. Total War Attila focuses on the Huns, which have good cav. Now, I don't know if they have the best cav in the game. However, they do have the fastest, from what I've seen. I played as the Huns, I played as the Visigoths, I played as the Vandals, I think. And I played as the Romans in multiplayer. But I didn't play as the Sassanids.
Ready for battle.
So I could be wrong. I mean, having a cavalry-based game just doesn't
For the tribe.
work well with me. I mean, I can play as the Nomads all the time, but I benefit more from infantry than I do from cavalry, which is why I'm doing this, because I want to step out of my comfort zone and play as a faction that doesn't rely on infantry. Finally, you give upgrades. Okay. Yeah, I noticed that too. I guess back then it didn't bother me that much, but that makes
Ready
sense.
for battle.
Now, I didn't, whoops, sorry. I didn't like the avatar, well, the avatar, how they made the avatar, like the avatar system in Shogun 2 was okay. However, I'm pretty glad they got rid of it, to be honest, because I just didn't like veterans. Now, veterans were nice, and you had to pay more to bring them in, which made sense. But in some cases, veterans could be overpowered, especially the Naginata warrior monks, because you had to bring good skirmishers to get rid of them. But sometimes you couldn't, sometimes people didn't want to, you know, bring good skirmishers. I mean, I like skirmishing, but to have an army that relies on skirmish power is just not for me. It's just not, it wouldn't work for me. Oh, yeah, I know those bonuses come from, for the barbarians, they come from religious buildings. For the Hellenic and Roman factions, they come from religious buildings too, but they also have, they can also build their own posts. Like, they can build their own industry buildings.
Ready for battle. Oh, this and garrison ready for orders. Who your
Whoops. Now, obviously, I don't know if these guys improved at all. However, I will wait until I get Noble Lancers.
for the tribe.
And that probably will give me enough time for the spy to get back here. Because that's about 5 turns. Now I know because I did a test in Shogun 2 that Yari Cav are faster than Katana Cav. However, I don't know if Bow Cav are faster than Yari Cav. They probably aren't. You played Divide a Impera. I've never played Divide a Impera. I mean, I like mods, but I just don't play it because I guess I don't want to. I probably could, but I just don't feel like using it. No, I don't. I personally don't think you're crazy. I understand where you're coming from. Those upon recruitment bonuses just
What you have of
aren't, they're just not necessary, I guess. Of course not. They're not necessary for the units, I get it. I agree with you on that part though. Now I should get rid of 2 armored horse archers because I still need mobility, but I also need noble horse archers. Now if I can, I might need Saka Cataphracts against the Bactrians if they have Eastern Slingers. Yeah, I get it. Rome 2, when I first came out, was really bad. You didn't understand anything. You thought it was like I thought it was like Shogun 2, where you put a unit in, they have better melee attack and melee defense, that they were going to win. Now you have to consider weapon damage in the campaign, like you just mentioned. You have to pay attention to buildings like this. I think that's been true for every game. Whereas in Napoleon and Empire, elite infantry costs a lot more than levies did. Or militia. In Shogun 2, heroes cost more than Shigeru. Oh yeah. And I noticed that in Shogun 2 that if you have a mixture of a Shigeru and samurai, you don't even need warrior monks. But if you have at least those 2, you can make a really good army. But warrior monks are pretty nice, I won't lie. Warcry, you don't have to use Warcry instantly, you can like wait a little. But who knows. In Rome 2 you can always mix up your army. But I mean, if you did like I did, like if I wanted to with the nomads, I'd probably lose. Wait, Step Horse Arch... Oh, for a second I was gonna say Step Horse Archers have more missile damage than Armored Horse Archers. I just realized how stupid that would have been. I think there's more barbaric factions than there are Hellenic factions. I know it sounds stupid, but I think there is. Now, off stream, I'm probably gonna start a new Shogun 2 campaign because the campaign I have going on right now has hit a roadblock, and then the other campaigns I've had like I have like 100 turns into, like I have 100 turns with them. They use mods, so I'm gonna start a new one. Probably a regular Shogun 2 campaign with the Takeda. I have to wait 4 turns for that. What units should I get rid of? Probably these 2. And then replace them with Saka Cataphract. Wait. No, that would be stupid. If I just replace them with Saka Cataphracts but have no Noble Horse Archers. I'm still going to change all of these eventually to Noble Horse Archers. But still keep Step Horse Archers for mobility reasons. And these guys are heavy, so yeah, I have to be careful with that. I'm going to replace these 2 with Noble Horse Archers. And I'll replace another 2, and I'll replace 1 maybe with a Saka Cataphracts.
Are you ready to do your duty to the tribe?
Whoops, almost forgot.
Ready for orders!
And remember, you can always tell me if you want me to play like Empire, Napoleon, Rome 2, or Shogun 2, because I don't really care. I also have Company of Heroes 2. I'm always changing up my which game I play because Rome 2 after time gets boring. Napoleon after if you play it for too long, it gets really boring. Unless of course you have all factions unlocked, like a mod that does that. Which I do with Empire and Napoleon, but I don't with Shogun 2 because that's pointless. Rome 2 is kind of pointless too, but I have it. Again, I'm going to send him back to his enemies.
I am the knife. You work then. I am done.
I don't really know if I'm going to get cataphracts or not because I don't need them against... Then again, I probably will need them against the Kharasmai if they upgraded their